Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. For those of you who were on earlier and realized that at 8 o'clock we didn't start, it's because I couldn't even get a sound out of my computer. I had to reboot the entire thing and start over before I got any sound. So it was a little struggle with the technical aspect of it. That's the material, what to do. So this morning, it's my Bhagavatam class is Canto 2, Chapter 10, Text 18. And we're fortunate to have His Grace, dear Krishna Prabhu, ISKCON, Harrisburg, and Berksback to Yoga to give the class. Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for joining this morning. We'll start with Jai Radha Madhav.
Okay.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Praja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Praja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivakacharya Ashto Tatra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anand Koti Vaishnav Brind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai.
श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय।
Jai.
श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय।
जय।
श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय।
Jai.
गंगा माई की जय।
जय।
यमुना माई की जय।
जय।
तुलसी देवी की जय।
Jai.
भक्ति देवी की जय।
Jai.
सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय।
Jai.
गौर प्रेमानंदी
Hari
हरि
Hari
हरि
Bol.
बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
All
Krishna.
glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Oh, glories to
Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shriman Kritudas Adhikarite Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees, once again for joining this morning. Today's verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, verse number 18. And the title of the chapter, as we all know, is Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. So we'll recite the verse now. Mukhatas tālu nirbhinnaṁ jihvā tatropajāyate tato nānā-raso jajñe jihvayā dhigamyate. Mukhatas tālu nirbhinnaṁ jihvā tatropajāyate tato nānā-raso jajñe jihvayā dhigamyate. Mukhatas tālu nirbhinnaṁ jihvā tatropajāyate tato nānā-raso jajñe jihvayā dhigamyate. Devotees can recite, please.
Mukhatas tālu nirbhinnaṁ jihvā tatropajāyate tato nānā-raso jajñe jihvayā dhigamyate.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else?
mukhatas tālu nirbhinnaṁ jihvā tatropajāyate tato nānā-raso jajñe jihvayā dhigamyate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nityagopal Prabhu. Anyone else?
Mukhatas tālu nirbhinnaṁ jihvā tatropajāyate tato nānā-raso jajñe jihvayā dhigamyate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Radha Mataji. Anyone else?
Mukhatas tālu nirbhinnaṁ jihvā tatropajāyate tato nānā-raso jajñe jihvayā dhigamyate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Soma Mataji. Anyone else? Okay. We'll go to synonyms. Mukhta, from the mouth. Tālu, the palate. Nirbhinnaṁ, being generated. Jihvā, the tongue. Tatra, thereupon. Upjayate, becomes manifested. Tatah, thereupon. Nānā-rasaha, various tastes. Jajñe or jajñe became manifested. Jihvayā, by the tongue. Yah, which. Dhigamyate, become relished. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. From the mouth, the palate became manifested, and thereupon the tongue was also generated. After this, all the different tastes came into existence, so that the tongue can relish them. Purport. This gradual process of evolution suggests the explanation of the controlling deities, Adhideva, because Varuna is the controlling deity for all relishable juices. Therefore, the mouth becomes the resting place for the tongue, which tastes all the different juices, of which the controlling deity is Varuna. This suggests, therefore, that Varuna was also generated along with the development of the tongue. The tongue and the palate, being instrumental, are adhibhutam, or forms of matter. But the functioning deity, who is a living entity, is adhideva. Whereas the person undergoing the function is adhyatma. Thus, the three categories are also explained as to their birth after the opening of the mouth of the Virat Purusha. The four principles mentioned in this verse serve to explain the three main principles, namely the Adhyatma, Adhideva, and Adhibhutam, as explained before. So, okay. Yeah. So, in this chapter, as we see, the title of the chapter is Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. And what questions are we talking about here? Not the question like who will win in a soccer match today, or how much the stock market will go up, or how much the price of the gold or silver will go up or down. Not really those mundane questions, but the most important questions which are related to the topics of self-realization, about the absolute truth, the Supreme Lord, the divinity. The knowledge of this material world and topics related to material world are anyway given to us by since childhood. Since birth, we are getting this knowledge directly, indirectly. But there is no provision to provide the systematic knowledge of spiritual topics, which are the most important topics. So the context for this verse is, in this particular section, we are seeing how elementary creation of matter occurs. Like in the last verse, we saw how mouth was created. And in this verse, we are seeing, or we will see, how the palate, taste, and tongue inside mouth manifests. And we also saw in the last verse or last few verses how everything generates by Shri Krishna. The real source, the ultimate source is Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And in the form of Virat Purusha, he desires. Without Krishna's desire, nothing can manifest. So all this creation is result of Krishna's desire. So one thing to also is proven here in this section, this chapter, that the supreme cause of all generation is not impersonal. Not that out of nowhere everything came up, right? Or out of some random explosion, the whole creation happened. Not by chance. So life comes from life. The life comes from something which is conscious. So there is a systematic process for the creation and evolution. So that's why we take the shelter of this Srimad Bhagavatam, where we systematically study this science of creation and maintenance and destruction in relation to the absolute truth, Shri Krishna. So all the topics in Srimad Bhagavatam are in relationship, are in Shri Krishna's relationship with his devotees. So we also saw in the last section that how there is a controller deity or devata for each of our senses. And so there are three important terms that we have to remember as we discuss: adhyatmik, adhidevik, and adhibhautik. So adhyatmik is us, the living entity. Us meaning as the spiritual being, as spirit souls. And adhidevik, one who controls our senses. So we might think that we are independent in this world. That's the default understanding or default desire of a living entity. That's why we are here, right, in this material world, because we want to be independent. But in reality, everything is controlled by somebody in our life. So even all our senses, we might be blinking right now, we might be hearing, we might be, taking a breath, whatever. But it is all being controlled by somebody, higher beings, devtas. For example, in this verse comes the controlling deity of tongue is Varuna. Similarly, for eyes, the controller deity is sun god, Suryadev. For ears, the disha, the direction, the controller deity of the directions. So similarly, for each and every sense, there is a controller deity. So now, when we say these demigods or devtas are the controllers of each sense, that means they give the results according to our activities. For example, we cannot say if we are doing something wrong, oh, I'm being controlled by somebody, but it's really not my fault that I'm doing something wrong. No, it's just like think about a traffic police. If I'm driving a car, he will not stop me to drive in a random way or at a very high speed, breaking the laws, right? Laws are there to control us, to regulate us. So, but the result of that rash driving or not following the rules and regulations of the traffic will be that I will get a ticket. So the controller deities give us the result as we deserve. So that's very important. Sometimes people, they blame the devtas or the Lord for, oh, anyway, nothing is in our control. So that's not the understanding. The understanding is we get they are authorized or they control the results that we get out of our doings. Now, an adhibhautik is the matter, this body. But the Lord, the Supreme Person, Shri Krishna, is the shelter for all. And we are also seeing that Srimad Bhagavatam is just not, here we are not just seeing biological anatomy, but we are also seeing how beautifully and systematically Shri Krishna has designed this world so that the soul, we can experience this world through these senses. Now, the higher understanding or the important understanding is how these same senses can either bind us or liberate us from this material world. So our focus in this verse is the tongue, this mouth, or especially the tongue. The tongue, out of all the senses, is most powerful. How? It wants to taste as well as it wants to speak. So it has two most important functions in our life. And these two functions, the desire to taste and desire to speak, it brings most of the karma in our life. We'll see that how. So here, just as a recap, mouth manifests it first, then the palate, then the tongue, and then the taste. So before the desire comes Krishna creates the facility to enjoy that desire. That's how merciful he is. So think about or imagine when we have to taste something, for example, a chutney or something, just like I was tasting the halls before this class just to clear my throat, and I found that my tongue is touching my palate to relish that taste. So you can imagine that that this taste comes when the tongue rubs the palate, the upper portion of the mouth. You can feel it now if you want to taste something, right? So desire to enjoy precedes the facility to enjoy. So Bhagavatam is actually educating us for whom these tastes are created and who is the ultimate enjoyer. So Bhagavatam changes the whole consciousness. We think these senses are for our enjoyment. I want to taste something, I want to hear something, I want to see something, right? And we go by our own desires. But Bhagavatam teaches us the ultimate enjoyer or the ultimate objective of these senses. So the answer is very clearly given in Bhagavatam that Krishna is the original enjoyer. We are meant to enjoy by offering to him. So when we offer anything or everything that we have, then as a result of Krishna's enjoyment, when we serve Krishna or offer to him favorably, as he likes, in the way he likes, in the form he likes, then as a byproduct, we also enjoy. The senses, our senses, which are controlled by actually our mind. So they act under the influence of demigods. We understood that. So when the service is ultimately aimed at the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the senses are in their natural position. So when we are not using these senses in the service of Krishna, then we are in not our natural state. Because Shri Krishna is also called as Rishikesh, because he is the ultimate proprietor and ultimate master of all the senses. So when these senses and mind, our mind, are, they team up and get engaged in the service of Krishna, then the ultimate pleasure, the most permanent pleasure will be experienced by us. So now this fact, actually, this process is only called as bhakti. When we engage our senses and our mind in the service of Krishna, this is called as bhakti. Bhakti is not something that we just do outwardly or show off externally. When we serve both externally and internally is even more important, then that is the real bhakti. So Sri Bhagwan Kapil Dev also, when he instructs Mother Devahuti, he mentions this, that when the senses, without desire for material profit or any other selfish motives, are engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is situated in devotional service. So unless we have some other agenda or some selfish motives or any desire for material profit out of this process of bhakti, we are really not situated in devotional service. So that is very important to remember always. Why I am doing something, why I am serving Lord Krishna, what is my desire, what is my goal with that, right? So the tongue, we can also say that tongue is the gatekeeper of our spiritual life. Tongue is the gatekeeper of our spiritual life. We'll see how. Again, remember, two functions, two most important functions tongue does. What are those? Taste and talk. Srila Prabhupada said many times that if we cannot, or he said actually, if you can control your tongue, you can control all other senses. That also comes in the Nectar of Instruction by Srila Rupa Goswami. The very first verse, Vacho Vegam, Jihvā Vegam, that the first thing we have to control is our tongue, right? And we every day, I hope all devotees sing this prayer, or at least when we get together before Prasadam, what do we sing? Beautiful composition by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It is in the Prasadam prayer. Sharira avidya jal, jadendriya tahekal, jive phale vishay sagare, tar madhye jiva ati lobhur mae sudurmati, take jita kathin sansare. So Srila Prabhupada has given a very beautiful long purport for this Prasadam prayer. He mentions, first of all, the meaning of this verse is that, or this prayer is, O Lord, this material body is a place of ignorance. And the senses are a network of paths leading to death. These senses, if not used in the service of Krishna, then they lead us to the path of death. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, this cycle, right? Somehow we are fallen into this ocean of material sense enjoyment. And of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and most uncontrollable. People just can't stop talking, just can't stop criticizing, just can't stop gossiping. We meet and tongue is uncontrollable. We see the food, we meaning people in general, we want to taste everything. It is, unless we control this voracious tongue, we cannot conquer the tongue in this world. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur describes our present conditioned state as Sharira Avidya Jal. That we are packed in this network of this material body, and we are just like a fish caught in a net. Not only we are caught in this body, we are also changing this net life after life through 8,400,000 species. In this way, we are really trapped. Then, Jadendriya Tahekal, our imprisonment within this network of ignorance is being continued on account of our desire for sense enjoyment. Because we want to enjoy our senses, we are eternally imprisoned. So tongue has two functions, eating. Now these senses, these two functions can either liberate us or keep us trapped in this material world. So in this verse, in the translation, it says, all different tastes came into existence so that the tongue can relish them. But relish for whom? If we cannot control the tongue, then the tongue will oblige us to take, Srila Prabhupada's purport is saying that, if we cannot control the tongue, then the tongue will oblige us to take different types of bodies, one after another. If a person is very much fond of satisfying his tongue by eating flesh and blood, then material nature will give him the facility to regularly taste fresh flesh and blood. How? He will get a body of either tiger or some other voracious meat-eating animal. this is the science of reincarnation, right? Or science of life after life. If one does not discriminate in his eating, if he eats all kinds of nonsense, everything and anything, then material nature will give him a hog's body, in which he will have to accept stool as his food. So much suffering is caused by the uncontrolled tongue. This is from Srila Prabhupada's purport on the Prasadam prayer. So sometimes we just sing it very casually after the programs, but it has such a deep meaning in our life. If we eat for just ourselves, then this same taste becomes attachment. That attachment becomes habit. And then habit becomes the bondage. Taste becomes attachment becomes habit, and habit becomes bondage. But on the other hand, if we make this process of eating as a service to Krishna, the same taste becomes prasadam. And the enjoyment that we get from that prasadam becomes purification. And the same tongue becomes spiritualized. How beautiful. The same taste and tongue which are the cause of our entanglement in this world, it becomes the cause of enjoyment and liberation. Just not liberation, forget even about liberation, but becomes the cause of our pure enjoyment. Because it's a purified enjoyment, even many times more enjoyment than what we would have been experiencing when it is not prasadam. So if we can practice accepting only prasadam, only remnants of food offered to Shri Krishna, it is possible to get free from Maya. Very powerful process. Just like electricity, think about electricity. It can help us cook our food or even kill us if we don't use it properly. The power is the same. It's the same thing. But it depends on how we use it. Similarly, this taste, that tongue can bind us or liberate us. Now the second function, let's discuss that. Speaking, talking. We understood. We should offer our food to Krishna. Anything or everything we eat should be offered to Shri Krishna first. But what about the words that we are speaking through this same tongue? Because by default, tongue is very much involved in gossiping, criticism, complaints, pride, meaning self-glorification. In some form or the other, either we say it or we write it somewhere, right? Then, even while eating prasadam, the tongue is not yet controlled completely. But when this tongue is used to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, or to glorify the devotees of the Lord, or to glorify Krishna himself, or when we get engaged in speaking about Krishna, the same tongue becomes direct instrument of bhakti. Very direct instrument of bhakti. That's why it is mentioned in scriptures, Sevan mukhohi jihvā ado. Devotional service begins with tongue. So dear devotees, we are actually discussing a very, very important topic today. If we think about it, it's just not another verse. Of course, all verses are very important. But here, the scripture says, Sevan mukhohi jihvā ado. The devotional service begins with tongue, and we are talking about tongue. Speaking, tasting, remember that. How can we make it service to Krishna? Avoiding gossiping, avoiding criticism, avoiding complaints, avoiding opportunities to self-glorify, where we directly or indirectly want to glorify ourselves. But taste only Krishna prasadam, eat only Krishna prasadam, chant Hare Krishna, speak about Krishna, glorify devotees and Krishna. Those are the only functions that we should do with tongue if we are sincere. If we are sincere on the path of Krishna consciousness. That's why, so the concept is same. We have to offer everything to Shri Krishna. That's why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he sings, Manas deho geho jo kichu mor arpilo tuva pade Nanda Kishore. Mind, body, family, whatever might be mind. Body includes all our senses also. Oh, youthful son of Nanda, Nanda Kishore, I have surrendered at your lotus feet. Surrender meaning, I will use it only for your satisfaction, only for your enjoyment. Janam vimoe iksha jadi to bhakta grihe jani janma mo. If it is your will that I be born again, then maybe it in the home of your devotee. Very important words. If Krishna's desire is that, okay, I'm practicing devotee, but if still if Krishna wants me to take birth in again, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is requesting on our behalf, then please give me birth in the home of a devotee. Why? Because then I can get favorable environment to serve you. I can get Krishna Prasadam. I can get Sangha, Sadhu Sangha or Bhaktas or devotees. Right? Kita janma ho jatha tuvadas bahir mukha brahma janme nahi as. I don't want to take a birth as a big person or big personality, even like Lord Brahma, who is not, I don't want to be born as a big personality who is not favorable to your bhakti. But may I born again, if I have to take a birth, even if I have to take like a very lowly living entity as a worm, it is fine as long as I'm engaged in your devotional service. So this is the humble mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So the point is, Manas deha goho jo kichu more. Everything I have, may I surrender to you, may I use it in your service. So just like we see a beautiful pastime in Mahabharata, when Durvasa Muni, he came to test Pandavas when they were in the forest for 12 years. Durvasa Muni arrived with thousands of his disciples. Of course, we know how Duryodhana requested Durvasa Muni to go and take the service of Pandavas because Duryodhana knew that Pandavas would not be able to satisfy Durvasa Muni because they have nothing in the forest with them. And Durvasa Muni will eventually curse them. That's what the objective of, or the plan of Duryodhana. Very cunning person. But when Durvasa Muni reached to their ashram, or the hut where they were living, Pandavas were living, all the Pandavas have already eaten prasadam. And Draupadi got actually Akshapatra, a vessel given to her by Shri Krishna, where when she cooks, then until she eats, it will never empty. There will always be food left in that Akshapatra. But by the time Durvasa Muni reached, Draupadi had already eaten, and there was no food left in that Akshapatra also. So she was in anxiety because Durvasa Muni told Maharaj Yudhishthir that I, with my thousands, I think 50,000 disciples or so like that, will go to the nearby river, take bath and come back and accept your service, meaning prasadam service. So Draupadi and all Pandavas were in great anxiety. And suddenly Shri Krishna appears on the scene in that hut. And of course he asked what's the cause of the anxiety, although he knew everything, and that's why he appeared there. So Krishna says, okay, show me the pot. There should be something. I'm very hungry. I also want some prasadam. So very nervously, Mother Draupadi brings the Rakshap Patra to show to Krishna there's nothing left. But Krishna finds a 1 grain of rice is stuck to the pot. And he honors it. He tasted it. At that moment, Durvasha Muni and all his disciples, while taking bath in the river, they suddenly felt completely satisfied. Their hunger was gone. And now, thinking that how can we go to Yudhishthir because he might have prepared so many dishes, feast for us, what face we will show to Yudhishthir, they fled away from there only. The point is that Krishna does not need our feast. Although we want to offer out of love feast to Krishna, but that is not to show to the world. This Chappan Bhoga we do or this and all that is not to show to the world, but to express our genuine love for Krishna. How he tasted and satisfied himself completely with just 1 grain of rice. But if we have the capacity to serve Krishna, we should wholeheartedly, without any hesitation, we should serve as opulently as possible. But the idea is the love, not to show to others or to feel but to become proud. So the entire universe gets nourished when Krishna is satisfied. So the point is that this faculty of taste or faculty to speak is ultimately to satisfy Krishna, not us. Sri Uddhav Maharaj also talks about even a wonderful concept in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Uchishta Bhojino Dasas. He says in that verse, simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, listen this carefully, dear devotees. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, you meaning Shri Krishna, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy, Maya. This is the symptom of Shri Krishna, that anything we use in our life, it should be first offered to Krishna. That's why we offer garlands first to Shri Krishna, and then we offer to our Gurujans or senior devotees. Even Uddhav Maharaj used to wear only those cloths and ornaments which were already used by Shri Krishna, Prasadi, the remnants of Shri Krishna. That should be our consciousness. Because that can help us conquer over Maya. There is no other way to conquer Maya but to surrender to Shri Krishna. And surrender means everything we use in our life or do in our life is offering to Shri Krishna, and we use that offered items in our life. Otherwise, Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Devi esh gunamaya mam maya durattaya. Very, very difficult to conquer this Maya, which is Krishna's own energy. She is very, very powerful, extremely powerful. So we should always take Mahaprasad of Shri Krishna. Now, what is Mahaprasad? I don't know if I can share my screen because there is a beautiful verse in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let me see if I can share the verse. In Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Leela, okay, I am unable to share, okay. There is a beautiful verse that comes, or beautiful pastime that comes of Kalidas. Kalidas, Sri Kalidas was an uncle of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And once he went to take darshan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. So the special thing about Sri Kalidas was that he always used to taste the remnants of food of the Vaishnavas, meaning, so Vaishnava, a devotee will always take Mahaprasad of Krishna, and then he used to take even the remnants of devotees, so Mahaprasad. And that's why he got a very special mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita described Sri Kalidas as a very advanced devotee. Yet he was very simple and liberal. Why? Why he was a very advanced devotee? Because he would chant the holy name of Krishna all 24 hours while doing his worldly duties also. So he used to honor only Mahaprasad, not only Mahaprasad, only Mahaprasad. But one thing for us to understand is we should learn how to honor Mahaprasad. Otherwise, a lot of devotees, out of their excitement or not knowing how to respect we should learn that how to honor from our senior devotees. Otherwise, we might end up making offenses. It's not a competition to honor Mahaprasad, or it should not be done without the approval of the devotees, right? There are a few things depending on our consciousness. We'll not get into that. But the important thing is that Mahaprasad is even more important. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, in Antya Leela, chapter 16, there are a few beautiful verses. We'll just quickly read them. It says, taking the remnants of food of Vaishnavas is so valuable that it induced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to offer Kalidas his supreme mercy. Let me see Mahaprasad. Mahaprasad, there is a verse about that. Okay. So it's very, very potent. Therefore, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is saying, giving up hatred and hesitation, try to eat the remnants of the food of Vaishnavas, for you will thus be able to achieve your desired goal of life. Okay. Krishnera uchishta hai Mahaprasad naam, Bhakta Shesha Haila Maha Prasad Akhyan. The remnants of the food offered to Krishna are called Mahaprasadam. After this same Mahaprasadam has been taken by a devotee, the remnants are elevated to Mahaprasad. It becomes Mahaprasad when the same remnants are of, honored by pure devotees like Gurudev, spiritual masters. That's why we have seen Srila Prabhupada in so many videos. He used to distribute to the devotees because it was his Mahaprasad. Bhakta pada dhuli ar bhakta pada jal, bhakta bhukta avashesha tina mahabal. Three very powerful substances in bhakti. Bhakta pada dhuli, the dust of the feet of a devotee. Bhakta pada jal, the water that has washed the feet of a devotee. And the remnants of food left by a devotee are three very powerful substances. Why? Because by rendering service to these three, one can attain the supreme goal of ecstatic love for Krishna. And it is mentioned in the scriptures again and again. In the pastime of Jal Bharat also it comes. How important it is to serve the devotees by serving their the dust of their lotus feet. So therefore, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, he urges, therefore my devotees, my dear devotees, please hear from me, for I insist again and again, please keep faith in these three and render service to them without hesitation. So in very, very simple words, the takeaway should be that we don't not only serve Krishna, but equally we serve the devotees, the pure devotees of Shri Krishna. So that will also transform our desire to taste things in the service of Krishna. So few takeaway points quickly before we wind up today. We should guard our tongue every day. Check yourself, whatever I am eating is prasadam or not, whatever I am speaking is going to be pleasing to Krishna or not. And we start our day with tongue. Sevan mukhi jihvā adu. First thing we start our day is with our chanting, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Take only prasadam, read, talk, or hear Bhagavatam only. When tongue is spiritualized in the morning, the whole day can become wonderful, beautiful. Srila Prabhupada says, be careful with criticism. Our uncontrolled comment can undo or it can undo years of our spiritual progress. Bhakti is not dry. For devotees, this is a very important thing to understand. When we say we have to control senses, we should not taste for our enjoyment or do anything for our enjoyment, it does not mean bhakti is dry. Bhakti is not dry. The process of devotion is not dry. It's not that we do not stop tasting, but we redirect that taste. Instead of saying I enjoy for me, I say I offer it to Krishna and accept that taste as his mercy. Change of consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said, people may not be interested in philosophy. They may not want to hear a lecture. But when they honor prasadam, something changes gradually. When somebody honors prasadam regularly, some transformation happens gradually. That's a science. Srila Prabhupada used to say, give them prasadam, everything will follow. He wanted first-class prasadam in all ISKCON temples. Of course, one of the things our ISKCON is most famous for is sumptuous prasadam. Other organizations now they copy our model, but Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON is special with most beautiful temples, most beautiful vigrahas, most beautiful shringars, most wonderful devotional philosophy, and most sumptuous prasadam. Everything wonderful. Simply wonderful. Most wonderful devotees, most wonderful gurus and guru parampara, and above all, the most wonderful, most powerful, most merciful Shri Mahamantra. So, we should consider ourselves very, very fortunate that we are under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada, trying to learn this science of devotion. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. If any comments, any additions, any questions, we can discuss for a few minutes.
Thank you for going through the lecture based on the tongue and the different details about the tongue and the prasadam prayer. Definitely the tongue is most voracious and uncontrolled, so prasadam helps us control the tongue. Prasadam is Krishna. So thank you for explaining those things and then giving us a conclusion also at the end of your lecture. Dear devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have any questions, you have any takeaways that you want to express, please unmute yourself and do that. We're a couple of minutes before the hour, for 9 o'clock, so we still have a little time. Hare Krishna. Mr. Gopal, who has left text in the chat. Hare Krishna, Guru, peace and harmony, good businesses, all glories is here, the power of God. And he's expressing that it's a very nice class. So thank you. So that's an appreciation for the class. I think Nupur Mataji early on just said Hare Krishna. I don't
Hare
see
Krishna.
anything. Yeah, I don't see anything else. Any questions, Devotees? Okay. So if there are no questions, then Prabhu, thank you very much. We're at the top of the hour now. We're giving such a nice class about the tongue and so many other things that we should be aware of, Srila Prabhupada has said. So dear devotees, this is the end of the weekday. This is Friday. And so we're wishing you a very nice, wonderful Krishna conscious day and weekend. Please attend programs at your temple, the nearest temple to you, and make sure that you're a part of the Sangha, the association with devotees. Then you'll be reminded about Krishna. This is what you're going to be doing full time, going back to the spiritual world, be associating with devotees. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to everyone.